Hey guys, for today's video, I decided that I would talk about something that probably a lot of you think about or have thought about, but if you haven't yet, this is something you do need to consider. And what I'm talking about is having a gatekeeper. If you're going to visit the Philippines or spend some time there, you need to have a gatekeeper. And I'll explain kind of what this is. I'm borrowing a term from some of my time as a missionary. When I was in training to be a missionary, they talked about having a gatekeeper, and this was especially important for missionaries who were in countries that were secure. In other words, if you're in a country where maybe missionaries are not allowed, or where it's where you can put local believers at risk if the government knows you're a missionary, that's what we call a secure country. And they recommended in those cases that those people had a gatekeeper, meaning to say people who wanted to get in touch with this particular missionary would go through someone in the United States, and that's his or her gatekeeper. Now, this was obviously never, security like this was never an issue in the Philippines because the Philippines fortunately has religious freedom. But I'm going to take this concept and apply it to all expats in that even if there's no secrecy involved with you being in the Philippines or no security issues, one of the questions you need to think about is basically who handles your stuff in the United States, your mail and that kind of thing. And if, God forbid, something happened to you while you were in the Philippines, who would be responsible for handling your affairs? And for that reason, you need someone that you can trust that's going to do those things. You may not want to call it a gatekeeper, you may have another term for it, but I just kind of, like I said, just borrowed that term from some of my former training. But the bottom line is you are probably, I mean, it depends on your situation, but you're probably going to need someone that you trust back in the States to handle at least a few things for you. And just some things that come to mind. You may want to do a power of attorney. Before I moved to the Philippines, I had a complete power of attorney done with my brother. They're very easy to do. You can find them online. And in many states, all you have to do is get them notarized. And once you've notarized them, they're valid. But that just ensured that if something were to happen to me, that my brother could have taken care of it for me. Or if there was something that just needed to be done here in the United States, I don't know what that would be, but some decision that just had to be made and had to have somebody physically present to sign something, and I couldn't get back to the States in time, then my brother could have done it. So that's kind of some of the more serious examples. But even if you don't have something that extreme, it's always nice, for example, to if you can have somebody, let's say a family member, who can check your mail for you. What you may want to do is if you're going to be in the Philippines for an extended period of time, if you have one family member who's willing to check your mail for you, then maybe you want to open up a P.O. box in your family member's town or area and ask him or her to check your mail a few times a week. And just that way, if there's something, income tax, which I'll get to in a little while, but just anything like that, they're at least your gatekeeper in the United States. They can email you and say, I got this letter, or what do you want me to do with it? I mentioned income tax. That's another thing that my family usually did for me back here in the States when I was in the Philippines. My sister-in-law is an accountant, so she was able to go through that because taxes are a little bit more complicated as an expat. And again, she just would handle all that kind of stuff for me. So again, the issue is, do you have somebody in the United States that you can trust that will handle some of these issues for you? One final thing that my family did, and I don't know if it's exactly related to the topic, but maybe, is occasionally I would need somebody to send me something from the United States that I couldn't find in the Philippines. I've mentioned in another video that I have a high cholesterol, and I take a product called wax Matrix Niacin, and it completely controls my cholesterol without me having to take statins. But the one issue is that product is not available in the Philippines. So when I started doing some research and looking into that, I ordered it, and I would send it to my parents, and my dad would then send it to me in the Philippines. So these are just some thoughts that you may want to consider if you're thinking about moving to the Philippines, or at least spending some time there, is finding someone that you can trust and someone that's competent that can handle a few things like that while you are away. Now, I know that what some people do is some people actually have spent so much time in the Philippines that their involvement here in the U.S. is minimal, and I believe that some of them have order mail forwarding type services and that kind of thing. That's another thing you could do. But again, for me, the ideal thing is if you could just have somebody to kind of watch things for you here. And obviously, the longer you spend in the Philippines, the less would need to be done here in the United States if you really build your life over there. So anyway, I just hope this is helpful, and it's really something to think about, because in an extreme case, if you get over to the Philippines, and assuming that, let's say you're still single and something happens to you, then what are the final instructions for the people here in the States, your family members, and what are they going to, what legal authority do they have to handle some of these issues? So just keep this in mind. It's simply a matter of thinking ahead, being prepared, and having some people that you can trust to handle these kind of things. I hope this idea helps you.